What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about why the Chicago Bulls continue to refer back to their old ways, why they simply can't seem to get a consistent run of form for their entire season pretty much, and we'll be talking about why I guess ball movement has been such an issue for them over the past couple of games, and I guess why in certain situations we do see constantly the same problems every single time we look at the Chicago Bulls teams perform. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and your overall thoughts and opinions on, I guess, whether or not the things I'm going to be talking about can change in the future, because I still hold some faith that it could potentially change. At the end of the day, that's what we want as a Bulls team. We want to see this team change. We want this team, see this team grow and develop and find ways to actually win, and win as a team instead of win as individual players. So that's kind of where the Chicago Bulls are at the moment. What you saw in the last 3 games for the Bulls, the last 4 games I should say, a 3-game win streak, and obviously the Bulls fall back to form, fall back to the way that they used to play against the Houston Rockets. Now we've got to ask serious questions. Why is that the case for the Chicago Bulls? What makes them, I guess, kind of be the way that they are? How are they able to play so well on a 3-game win streak? Granted, there were some obstacles in the way that allowed us to win those games, but how do we fall so badly to the Houston Rockets the next game after that? That's the biggest question that we all have on our hands. Now, there could be several answers for that. One is just that we lost to the better team on the night. We've got to give full respect to the Houston Rockets in that way. Yes, they might be a tanking team, and they're not better than the Bulls overall, but on the night, they were the better team. And sometimes, you've got to give respect to the better team when they outplay this Chicago Bulls team. And we've been giving respect to a lot of NBA teams recently, because a lot of teams simply outplay the Bulls. Simple as that. Really, that's one issue. But for me, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like the Chicago Bulls lack a little bit of discipline in their game. Again, I think they go with what works for a couple of games. For example, the 3-game win streak that we were on, Zach LaVine was called out for his defensive displays, and obviously the big three were playing together. The assist numbers were high, we're moving the ball a little bit more, and everything was going swimmingly. And then obviously you see a game like this against the Houston Rockets, where in the second half, the ball movement stopped. It was very, very stagnant on offense, dumb shot selection on offense, people disappearing on offense, people scoring when it's not necessary, when the game's basically over. These types of things that we've currently already seen with the Houston Rockets game. And we're kind of falling back to old habits, to old ways. And I do feel like the biggest thing is discipline. I don't think this team has enough discipline to practice what they preach on a consistent basis. Now, that could easily be proven wrong in the next couple of games. If we can share the ball against Detroit, share the ball against Milwaukee, share the ball against Cleveland, and find some consistency, this game against the Rockets might be considered a one-off. And that's something that at the end of the day, it can happen. You can lose to any team in the NBA. It could potentially be a one-off type situation for the Bulls, of course. But in saying that, I think throughout the course of the season, we can clearly tell this is not necessarily a one-off thus far. So, we'll wait and see if the Bulls have really turned over a new leaf, and in the next game against Milwaukee, we can see some better ball movement. In a win or in a loss, we can see something better on the offensive end for this team. I would love to see that. But until that day comes, I will be questioning this Bulls team's discipline. I don't think they have the cultural habits. I don't think they've had the repetition in, I guess, the style that they want to play to actually be successful in 82 games of their style of play. They do not practice what they preach most of the time. I remember back during the off-season and I guess the preseason for the Bulls, and they were talking about randomness on offense. You guys remember what I'm talking about? Randomness on offense. Trying to be as unpredictable as possible. Trying to get as much people involved as possible. Running as much as possible. I think we've heard this all before, and some games we see that. I'm not denying that we never see that, because that's just not true. We have seen that. The game against Dallas is the perfect example. We were running, we were sharing the ball, everybody was involved, almost everybody got double-digit points that game. It was an incredible game, and yes, Dallas second night of a back-to-back, make all the excuses you want for Dallas in the world. The Bulls played well that game, and we have seen a couple of other times throughout the season where the Bulls do very similar things. Again, when all three of the big three score 20 plus points, that's not by accident. It's because the ball is moving and those guys are involved every step of the way in that, and they're leading this team to wins. So I do feel like when the ball stops rolling and when this team is getting challenged, I don't think we have the discipline to actually get over the line in some of those games. It might not necessarily be a heart issue, because this team last year showed bunches and bunches of heart. Again, I can recall all the situations that the Bulls were in last year. Very similar team, by the way, from last year to this year, and we weren't questioning the heart of this team. Again, the winning streak that we were actually on, all of the injuries and the COVID protocols that we had, before any other team had to face it, we were one of the first to have to deal with it, and we were one of the first teams in the NBA to get some of their games postponed by how bad it was. But we had heart, and we fought back through that. I'm not saying this team doesn't have heart, because I don't agree. I think sometimes they show they can give up. Maybe they do have a heart issue this year compared to last year, but I personally think it's a discipline issue. I don't think they can continually play the same style every single night and live with the results, win, lose, or overtime or whatever. There's no draws in the NBA, so I can't even say that phrase. But I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. I feel like the big reason why the Bulls fall back on the same issues and same problems and the same style of play is because that's what they know. That's their norms. And in any organization, bad norms are extremely hard to get rid of. Go ask anybody that's in the business world. Go ask a manager. Go ask an employee. When you have bad norms in an organization, any job at all, they're extremely difficult to overcome. They're extremely hard to change. And that's where I turn to Billy Donovan, because they don't have the discipline to really play their style of I guess Billy Donovan wants to play on a regular basis, and obviously they're a team that has bad norms, that have bad habits, and it's very hard to overcome. But in a situation like this, managers has to, I guess, deal with it. Billy Donovan is kind of seen as the manager of this team. He's the coach of the team. He has to find a way to deal with this. He has to find a way to be able to show this team how they can play when they do play at their best, and why it could be sustainable if they continue to do it, and practice those good norms on a regular basis to the point where those good norms become the regular norms for this team. I guess that makes, at least in my mind, that makes sense, and that's what I'm thinking about, because there's no reason why the Bulls can go on a 3-game win streak and then completely disappear in the second half of a game against the Houston Rockets. I can't find a valid reason for the Bulls to disappear like that, except for the fact that they're just going back on what they know, and what they know does not help them win games. That's really about it for the Bulls, honestly. That's how I feel about that situation. So yeah, look, I'm obviously not happy with the game against the Rockets, but I want to give this team a chance to redeem itself. And as much criticism as we've already given this team this season, they at least deserve this next game against Milwaukee to kind of see where their heads are at after a loss like this. Will they continue to go back on what they know, and that will end up losing us a lot of games, or will they continue to practice those good norms until eventually we will see the good norms become the regular norms and things of that nature? I'm hoping we'll be able to find out very soon, ladies and gentlemen. But that's kind of where my head is at. I'm not pissed off. I was pissed off at the time of the Rockets game, and I really believe that's a wasted opportunity even till now. And I think if we have a bad stretch coming up, we're going to look back at this Rockets game and say, missed opportunity. If we lose to the Pistons, it'll feel the exact same way. But until then, I want to give this team the proper chance they deserve to redeem themselves. With all that being said though, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls video. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.